Welcome to Women Entrepreneurs Radio. I'm your host, Deborah Bailey. And when I started this show in 2008, I was on a mission to promote women-owned businesses and help women succeed by providing resources and valuable tips from other women and men, small business owners. In each interview, my guests speak openly about their triumphs, the scary times, and tough decisions they had to make along the way. Women Entrepreneurs Radio is about showing women how to harness their natural strengths to achieve success on their own terms. Hi everyone, welcome to Women Entrepreneurs Radio, and your hosts are here, Deborah Bailey and Kerry Heaps is returning again for this show. And if you're listening to this on Podomatic, you could just come to womenentrepreneursecrets.com and look under the radio tab, and you can find out how to listen on iTunes and SoundCloud and YouTube, and also Libsyn. All their shows are being uploaded there as well. So there's links there so you can listen to the shows wherever is better for you to listen. And if you're on iTunes, please, as I've mentioned in previous shows, if you're a regular listener, if you could leave feedback, that would be really great, because if you leave feedback, then that will help the show to be found by others as well. And, we love to hear what you think of the shows. So right now, I'm going to introduce my co-host. And Kerry Heaps is the founder and publisher of Strictly Marketing Magazine, and she's also the host of Strictly Marketing Talk Radio. The magazine has recently spun off an online community for women and men too, looking to gain more immediate exposure. Pitch Like a Bitch Media. She owns Knockout Marketing, a business-to-business telemarketing and lead generation firm. Her passion is to help other entrepreneurs with their marketing efforts to continue their dream of running a successful business. You can find out more about Strictly Marketing Magazine and Talk Radio at www.strictlymarketingmagazine.com. So welcome back to the show, Kerry.
Thank you, Deb, and I'd like to just go ahead and forewarn everybody, I am wearing space pants. You will find out what that means soon enough if you stay tuned in.
Yes, you will, because we've been having a laugh about that for today's topic about chatbots. So if you haven't heard about chatbots, you will hear about chatbots. I reached out to Kerry about this because, like, within a week, I was getting all these different emails from different people that I subscribe to, talking about bots and, how wonderful they are and how you have to know how to use them, blah, blah, blah. And, you listen to the show, I'm a former programmer. And so I'm not coming from a perspective of being, negative on technology. I obviously love technology, but I'm looking at this and I'm giving it the side eye, because bots. And I think, people don't really understand the ramifications of this, and this is where I'm coming from, I think. So that's why I said, I think we need to chat about this, because, no pun intended about chatbots, but I think that we need to have a conversation because this is very interesting, and I'm hearing it about all over the place. And I think that people need to know what this is about, what's going on, if it's something that really works for you or not. Just because you hear it all over the place doesn't mean it's going to work for you. So, yes, you will hear about what the significance of space pants is. And I'm going to put them link in the show notes so you will see for yourself what this video is from Saturday Night Live, so you'll understand what the reference is. It's really hard to describe unless you see it. You really get a really good feel for it. And then you'll kind of get an idea of what we're talking about when we're referencing that. But just to kind of introduce it, chatbots, it seems to me that people are looking at this as a way that you're going to save time as a business owner. The chatbot's going to do all these different things for you. Communicate with your prospects, your clients, your customers for you. If you're on Facebook, you probably have interacted with a chatbot, even if you didn't know you were. And that's the thing to keep in mind. You may not know you were. If you're on Facebook Messenger, you've probably gotten a message from a chatbot. Just want to let you know. So I'm just, looking at the pros and cons of this. Is this really a good thing? We'll see. So I don't know. I have my own ideas about it. Like I said, I'm not against technology. Having been on the other side of it, I kind of know how things can go. So that's why I have my own perspective on it. So Kerry's the one that introduced the Space Pants video, so she's to blame for that.
Yeah, leave it to me to add something stupid to make you laugh. But I got to tell you, well, when we talked about the bots and we talked about, doing this show, it was the first thing that came to my mind. And I think, stop the recording, right? Not recording, but stop the show right now. Put your thing on pause if you're listening, and go watch the Space Pants video. It's 4 minutes long. It will make you laugh or make you roll your eyes, one or the other. It'll be one or the other, and then it'll really. This episode will make sense, and we are laughing about it, and it is funny, but it really. And I'll get into that later, but you'll really see it kind of breaks down the whole thing with bots. It really does. Mm-hmm. It really does.
Yeah. I think it does. I really think it does. And I just take a look at it. So I will agree that it certainly will describe to you why we thought this is something to have a conversation about. And, my feeling is about it, and I'm going to throw this to Kerry, is that I feel, even though I'm not against technology, so I'm not coming from that perspective. I've been a programmer, so I know what it's like to deal with on the other side, not artificial intelligence programmer, but I've done that, so I'm not against that. But I've seen some applications, or I guess I could say I've read some posts where people really advocating that you can use a chatbot to find out if you should talk to someone. The chatbot will check with the person, I guess, to see what they're about. And should you talk to them even to network, or just run interference for you so that you don't have to talk to someone? I'm having a problem with that, because I think a small business owner, one of the best things about what you're offering and who you are is you can make that personal connection. That's me. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying everybody's going to agree, but that's what kind of caught my attention, that I think it's just adding more distance between you and your client and customer. So I'm going to throw it to Kerry, because she's, the marketing sales expert. And I want to see, Kerry, what are your thoughts about this thing that's coming on? Because I'm seeing so much about it, and this is kind of coming on strong, and it seems like a relatively short amount of time. What are your thoughts?
Just to mention, because one thing that you forgot, with my expertise, because yes, sales and marketing, but you have to remember, I'm wearing space pants, Deb. I'm sorry, I had to mention that. I know, I had to throw it out there. Okay. Well, I got to tell you, this is still fairly new to me, clearly. Even the same thing with a lot of people who are listening, but if I could just sum it up in one word, it's a bad idea. I don't like it. And I wouldn't recommend it. If I had to sum it up just like that. Several reasons why. I've had a few of these contact me on Facebook. I had one that happened today where we were doing some marketing for a pageant training thing that we were doing. And I had another person who was also sharing our post and things like that. And this all happened at the same time. I had gotten a message or not request, but just a message that came in, and I'm like, oh, this is great. Somebody saw the posting and they want to come to the event. And I click on it and it's a bot. So, I was like, okay, great. And I guess it was picking up on me posting about pageantry or, just about an event. Mm-hmm. I didn't stay on with it long enough to find out any more than that. we've both had them happen where they say outrageous things to you, like, with mine. My uncle had reached out to me and we're having a conversation, hey, how are you? How are things going? Okay, great. And then all of a sudden, did you hear the news? And, you can get money backed by the government. It's a finance thing. And I'm like, okay, clearly this is not my uncle.
Right.
Clearly. Which it turned out, I think that one was actually a virus, because my uncle actually his Facebook was hacked and he got a virus, but it acts in the same way as a bot. You really have no way of knowing. So one of the worst things you can do is start communicating with this. If it looks like it could be artificial, just ignore it. I think I can think of 101 ways of why this is bad. I think it is going to hinder a lot of interaction on Facebook and on social media, which in and of itself could be a good thing, but it's also very, very bad, even from a personal aspect. So yeah, the whole idea of it, and I know you're going to share your thoughts on this, but the whole idea of it is just all around a bad idea. It creates a multitude of problems rather than solving a multitude of problems.
Yeah, I have to agree. And the same thing. I think when I was chatting with you about them and I was saying my cousin, the same thing. I contacted my cousin, or she contacted me on Facebook, Facebook Messenger, and it was the same kind of thing. And when it was like, well, how are you today? And I was like, something about it seemed off to me in the way she contacted me. And then I was saying whatever back and forth, and then finally the message I got was, well, I had a bag of money delivered to my door. And I was just like, I know this isn't my cousin saying this. So yeah. I blocked her right away because I said she's been hacked. But then when I heard more about bots, I was like, well, and you're saying, Kerry, that there was, a virus. I'm like, that's crazy. I thought, well, maybe that was what it was. I don't know that she is using bots for any kind of marketing, but it interacts with you in a way that you may not assume that this is not the person that you know. And then you find out they said something absurd because the bot is programmed. So it's not like it's a human being that's going to talk to you in a certain way. It's going to say, oh, if I say this person's going to think I'm crazy. It's logical. It's going to follow instructions. So it's going to say stuff that you may go, huh? And so then when I talked to Kerry and then I started to read, suddenly it seemed like all of a sudden I started getting these emails and everybody's talking about bots. I was like, oh my God, this is not good, because people are kind of relying on bots to contact prospects instead of them having to talk to you. And that I found problematic, Kerry. It's I think I sent you an email. Well, the person was saying, well, you have less work to do. The bot can now find out if you should talk to that person because it'll see if they're worth talking to. I'm like, huh? You know what? I think I know what you feel about that, but what are your thoughts about that? The bot now is going to find out if you're worth discussing anything with. I'm not sure I'm comfortable with that.
Well, I don't think anyone is, and a lot of you, with technology, there's a lot of things that we can do today that we couldn't even do a year ago or 5 years ago. One of the things that I was going to talk about too was, you take Doctor on Demand, the telemedicine that has become so popular. I've used Doctor on Demand several times. I love it. All you do is you go to Doctor on Demand, you create an account, you put in your insurance information, you tell them what's wrong with you, and you pick which doctor you want to go to. You can see a doctor right away, or you can see one, you can set an appointment. And as soon as you choose the appointment and you pay, boom, it's a 15-minute appointment with the doctor. You're doing it it's like a Skype-related type setup. They can see you, you can see them. They can treat anything from, urinary tract infections, colds, flus, viruses. They even have some that can treat, for mental illness, like psychologists and psychiatrists use it. So It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. I have gone on there before when I've had some, issues that I did not want to have to go to a walk-in clinic and could not get in to see my doctor, where it could get taken care of right away. I could get a prescription written, for my migraines. I was able to do that, and it's just a terrific, wonderful, convenient service. Mm-hmm. Now, you apply the bot segment to that. What if that was applied to, this is where it can become very dangerous. Mm-hmm. All kidding aside is, you look at where I had a doctor on demand visit. Now, if Doctor on Demand decided to use bots, mm-hmm. and then I get an email or something through Facebook that says, hey, how are you feeling today? And I start to have that conversation with them. Not only am I giving this bot medical information that I shouldn't be giving them, mm-hmm. Even though it's a bot, I might be talking to them, well, yeah, my migraines are getting better, but what if this decided to, with the bot, it's not perfected clearly, mm-hmm. and it starts to spout out some type of medical information, like, well, you should try a natural remedy of blah, 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 or maybe it's an herbal company that's using it that knows that I use Doctor on Demand, and, or that I've had issues with migraines, or I've researched it, or whatever, and they're telling me to try this new herbal supplement, and I go out and I try it, and it turns out I have an allergic reaction to it. Mm. Then what? Yeah. Who's liable at that point? Mm-hmm. And this is, granted, that's an extreme because it's medical, but that could be applied to anything. You look at, okay, let's take the business coach, for example. Let's mm-hmm. say the business coach decides, well, yeah, I think this is a great idea. Let me sign up. And, this is the kind of client I'm looking for. And they start reaching out to different people. And the person thinks they're having a conversation with this particular business coach, and they ask the coach a question. Well, I am having this issue. I don't know if you can help me with it, but blah, blah, blah. And let's just say the bot responds back with some type of automated thing mm-hmm. that is actually really bad advice mm-hmm. that person would never give them. And then they mm-hmm. follow it. Mm-hmm. And it hurts their business. Yeah. What happens then? Yeah. So it is a very dangerous thing from a marketing standpoint. No, I mean, it just I have 4,200 and some odd friends on Facebook, which I think the maximum you can have now is 5,000 or what, and then I have a couple hundred people that follow me. Mm-hmm. Now, have I used Facebook to reach out and message those people directly? Yes, but it's mm-hmm. me doing it. And if they have a conversation, they are talking to me. Right. The reason I wouldn't use a bot is just the example I just gave you. Let's just say I decided to do one for the media training that I do, okay? Mm-hmm. And someone asked that question, a bot, the bot's trying to figure out if this person's worth me picking up the phone and calling them. And it asked the bot, thinking they're asking me, well, I did get contacted by my local station about an issue that's going on in town. I was thinking about responding this way. What do you think? And the bot says something like, well, yes, that's great, and let's get together and have a conversation. And it tells me, hey, this is a great client for you, or you should call them. In the meantime, the person's idea is completely stupid, and they go on TV and make an ass out of themselves. Mm-hmm. Who gets blamed? The bot or me?
Right.
Because at the end of the day, it's still my business. Right. My bot, my business, my butt, really. I mean, think of bot, yeah, it's still going to be the same thing. You can use bots, but realize your butt's going to be on the line for it. You're going to be responsible for what transpires, and I don't think people are quite ready. And that's just one tip of the iceberg there, Deb. One tip of the iceberg. Yeah. Even if they perfect it, that still opens up other issues. Wouldn't you agree?
And I keep emphasizing that I was in IT, and I emphasize that because I understand what it's like on the other side. Yes, people are programming these things, but artificial intelligence means it has the intelligence to evolve. So it's not just going to, in my opinion, I haven't read every single thing that's been written about AI, but my assumption is that it's going to evolve past the programming. So it's going to learn how to interact with you and other people. And it may have suggestions that have nothing really to do with what you need. But you don't know. If you don't know you're not talking to a real person, you may take those suggestions. And now who's liable if something terrible happens? I don't think the legal system is even equipped to deal with this yet. I'm pretty sure it's not.
No, we can just go ahead and answer that. It's not.
No, I don't think it's even near having to deal with what happens when artificial intelligence is giving you advice. This is what I think a lot of people don't realize. It's your business. You could be liable. I'm thinking that if you have this bot telling someone to do something and they do something and they feel like, oh my God, I was hurt by this. Now what happens? I'm not saying don't use bots because you're afraid, but I'm saying you have to be careful. Don't just jump into any new thing that someone says, oh, you must use this. Because what are the ramifications of this thing? Where's it going to lead you? What's going to happen down the road if you use this thing and you are talking to someone? The person may not even know it's a bot. I had an idea, Kerry did, but everybody's not going to pick up on that. And suppose they take an action they shouldn't take. The bot is logical. It's not going to be thinking, I shouldn't say this because I'm going to hurt someone. And I'm not saying it's terrible. I'm saying, please, if you have a business, you have to stop and think about how this is going to affect me. How does this affect me legally? If I'm going to talk to someone and I'm going to let the bot do this, what is the bot saying to that person? You have to be aware of that right now because people are pushing this stuff because they're all excited about, oh, I have to talk to people, bot will do it. Well, my perspective, and Kerry, I really want you to weigh in. I feel like if you're so busy you can't talk to a prospect, then why are you in business?
Well, and I agree. That's wholeheartedly. I agree with everything that you're saying. Number one, if you don't have time to talk to a prospect, yes. If you're trying to identify prospects for yourself, there's a way to do that. Listen to the show that we recorded previously when talking about ideas for small businesses. And, there's just different ways that you can qualify prospects for yourself. If you do it online, it is going to take longer, and just be prepared to deal with that. But yeah, if you don't have time to talk to a prospect, you should not be in business. The other aspect of it is that, if they do get this perfected, and I think you have said this too, what do we need you for? If the bot's doing all the work, then what? Mm-hmm. I will say, where I put a lot of I don't want to say blame, but that's the only word I can think of. Where I would put a lot of the blame for where these bots are coming from is all of these people who are promoting businesses that help you automate what you're doing. There's nothing wrong with certain amounts of automation. I use it to schedule social media posts, tweets, or to send out emails where everything's just kind of ready to go. When somebody signs up for and they buy a product from me, it's as soon as they pay, they're immediately redirected to the page that they need to be on so they can have all that information. It's available immediately. And it automatically triggers an email saying, thank you for your purchase, the whole 9 yards. I mean, yes, those are things that are going to make your business easier. That's good automation. There's a difference between good automation and bad automation. Mm-hmm. And if you want to automate everything in your business where you're only going to be working a few hours a week and you're not going to have to do anything, that's not a possibility. I mean, there's still people behind the scenes that are going to have to check, make sure the technology is working the way it's supposed to, monitor it, and, eventually still pick up the phone and have some type of human contact with the prospect. So, you think about it, I mean, you look at your cable companies, Deb, you look at DirecTV, you look at Mediacom, you look at Comcast. You can go online and pay your bill, or you can call it in. And then, it might even be 10 minutes later, you get an automated survey call. We value and appreciate your business. Could you please take 2 minutes to take this quick survey? It's just an automated thing that is automated. It's set up to trigger that way. As soon as certain actions happen, again, nothing wrong with it. The biggest companies in the world do it, but there are still companies that have, if you don't want to pay your bill online or you don't feel like you can do it over the phone, you can still call in and talk to a real person. They will take your credit card information and process it manually. Right. They still have those options available because they want people to know that they're here. There's a face behind that voice, and again, there's just so many different dangers, but I think a lot of this is coming from those people that keep pushing for automation.
Mm-hmm.
There's different programs that you can have, Infusionsoft, I think, is huge on automation, and they want you to set up everything through them. And again, nothing wrong with it, but you can't pull yourself out of your business completely, especially if you're service-based, because you are the business.
Right.
So people have to think about that. They also need to think about, at some point you have to step up to the plate and tell people, hey, I'm an expert in this industry and here's why. And if there's no contact phone number on your website, there's even really no emails, just a contact us forms you can fill out, or you can request more information. And even with the process of buying, you buy and then everything's emailed to you and you never hear from anybody, and you have a problem with the product, but they have a help desk or they have a forum you can join for questions. That gets annoying for consumers. Even the ones that are tech savvy. You have a problem with the product. You can't tell. You can only put so much information in on a form, and not everybody can articulate the exact problem. Right. It takes them talking to someone to get it figured out. So the level of where this is going to go isn't good. Even if they perfect it, it's just going to be the downfall of so many things, and a creation of, like I said, brand new problems, liability, endangerment. There's just a lot of different things that will apply here, and to me, it's not a good thing. Prior to the show, you shared a website with me. I tried to go on there just to create a bot, and it froze up my computer. That scared me, so I got out of there, and I'm not going to go back to their page. But they had no pricing information. The way that they had things set up, it's like, well, what do you want to do? Well, I want to create a bot. Okay, then it's going to walk me through all these questions asking me, well, what do you want help with? Setting up a price for it, design. Well, I need a bot. I need all those things. I can't just choose one. But again, that's the downfall of what people are trying to create.
Well, that's such a great point, because I think when people are, it's like when you call customer service for a credit card or something, and you get, they tell you select 1, select 2 for this, select 2 for that, select 3 for that, and you're like, I just want to talk to a person, and you're so frustrated, you just want to ask a question that's not programmed for in that list. How do I get through? That's the kind of thing, they try to program for what they think that you want. Or if you actually talk to someone, they may have a script that tells them what they think you want. But you may want something completely different. Then maybe your question can be answered in a minute. But the person hasn't programmed for that. So now you're frustrated, you're angry, you just want to get your question answered. It's not getting answered. And I think that's part of the problem from the personal side, that you can't program all that stuff. And I guess for me, I feel like there's a problem if you lose that. Then now you're not standing out in your own way in the things that you can stand out in, because you're just, I'm hiding behind a bot, which is essentially what I think a lot of people are going to do. So I mean, Kerry, you have companies and you've dealt with this. As far as just the person-to-person connection, what are your thoughts, I guess, about that? I don't want to just sit here and rant myself, but
no, I mean, well, okay. So personal connection. One thing I would say, and if you, again, I'm going to say it again. Stop the recording, go and click on the link that's in the show notes for the YouTube video for a little video called Space Pants. And what it is, I know it like I said, it will make
really
you laugh.
Cute.
It is. Cute. But it will make a lot of sense to what we're talking about. So you go ahead, you stop the recording and listen to it. It's 4 minutes long. It will make you laugh. And when you're done, come back and hit play so you can hear this description. But the reason I ask you to listen to that is, number one, it's just really funny. But secondly, it really explains about bots. Okay. So here it is. You have we'll take Facebook, for example. You're on Facebook, you're interacting with people, you're commenting on posts one day, and you're going through your news feed, and, you might have an email going back and forth or a messenger going back and forth with a colleague, and all of a sudden, boom, there's the bot. Just like at the beginning of that Space Pants clip, the skit for Saturday Night Live, you got 4 guys in a bar, they're having a conversation, and then all of a sudden it's, hello, my name is Jonathan Lundy. The name of my song is Space Pants. And it's so jarring because he comes out there and he says that, and he's dressed the way he is, and he's got the haircut, and people do stop as they stop and they look at him. And so the bot, I affiliate those with the bot. That's the bot. The bot's got your attention, and it starts singing Space Pants. So the bot starts to butt into your conversations because it's trying to communicate with you as if it's someone else. You're thinking it's someone else, so you're communicating back and forth, and it's causing, as it's going along, there are things that it's asking you that either sound off or don't sound right, and it kind of takes you back. And it's just like when he jumps back up on stage and says, hey, you in the front, stop talking during my song, it's very rude. Well, that's a bot. It's going to interrupt your conversation with singing or doing whatever else. And then when Gwen Stefani comes out, you see she misses her mark on the first go round, that she's going to start singing and it wasn't her cue or time to. And that's exactly what a bot does. It comes out at the most inopportune time and will start talking or adding to what you're doing when you're in the middle of something else. And it's usually something important. So, as soon as they start singing again about Space Pants, and, the guy at the table says, don't you want to hear what we have to say? And the other guy says, later, I'm getting into the song, and he starts yelling Space Pants. Well, that's what the bot wants to happen. It wants you to yell Space Pants, and just get into what it's doing. And logistically, that doesn't happen. So, and at some point during the conversation with the bot, you do figure out this isn't who they said it is, or, you will start to be able to tell. But what's scary is there are going to be times you're not going to be able to tell. And if they're giving you advice that it's coming from a bot, not really the person who is supposed to be giving you the advice, it's a problem. It's a huge problem. So that's kind of my comparison of how silly this whole bot thing is, just comparing it to Space Pants. And I hate to do that because I love that video. It's really funny. No offense to the people who created that skit at Saturday Night Live. It was genius. But that's what I think of when I think of a bot. It's Space Pants. It really is. There's just no other way to put it. It's Space Pants.
Well, I have to agree because that was really hilarious. And I totally got what you were saying when I saw that. And I do agree with it because it kind of interrupts what you're in that, the guys were in the conversation. It was totally different than when this guy comes out with the Space Pants.
Absolutely.
And, yeah. What do you think, Kerry? I mean, do you think after a while it's just going to become something that people realize, I'm not feeling this, or do you think that this really is a wave of the future?
I really think people are they're gonna catch on, and they're going to get angry, and it's going to turn, it's just same thing with all of these, sponsored ads that people are seeing. I used to be just like you, and now I'm making, $1 million a year. I'm sipping water out of a coconut and straw, and, you could have the same life as me. People know. I think people are calling bullshit.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to really, and again, it's something that's going to cause more problems than what it solves.
That's a good point. So right now, I think you're probably going to see a lot of those things. I think it's kind of like text also, where I was very, I guess stingy is the right word, as far as who I gave my cell phone number to. But now I find more and more I get cell phone calls that are what I call spam calls, where it's not really a person, it's just someone calling, to try to sell you some crap, and you don't know them because they just called your number. And now I screen my cell phone calls where I didn't used to screen them like that. And it's annoying to know that people are just calling me with garbage, So if people start to feel that people are constantly intruding on them, because then I stop answering, or I just look at the message, and if they don't leave a message, I assume, okay, this was a bunch of you know what. So I don't really pick up the phone unless I don't recognize the number. Right. So I think that's what's going to happen more with these messenger things.
And I agree with you. I think that you're absolutely 100% right. I think people are going to get to the point where it's just too much. It's kind of like, you know, you have a really bad day at work, you come home and you have a headache and you take some medicine and you crawl into bed, you've got the door locked, you're in your room, you shut your bedroom door and you put the pillow over your face and it's dark inside.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden you see, you know, there's a mechanical bot lifting up the pillow going, are you in there? I mean, if it continues to go, it could get that way, where we're not getting away from anything. But again, I just look at the sheer danger level of it all. And it can be applied to any business. My God. Okay, a plumber, you know, a plumber is using a bot and let's just say it's somebody who's Googled about, you know, having issues with their bathroom flooding or with their water anything, you know, that's been causing flooding. And the bot says, you know, oh, have you been having, you know, we understand you've been having some plumbing issues. Well, yeah, I have. And this is what's been going on. And maybe the bot tells it to do something that, not only makes the problem worse, but takes a $100 problem and turns it into a $10,000 problem.
Yeah.
Think of the liability of that. Oh, I'm going to take you to court because you said, well, actually that wasn't me. That was a bot. No, you said it. I was talking to you. I mean, you can see the ramifications of that and the danger level goes up. I mean, like I said, look at medical. You have a doctor who, maybe wants to, or a medical symposium or something, or maybe even somebody that sells supplements that, you know, is talking to a heart patient that's on certain medications that you can't be on any kind of herbal supplements or any kind of natural supplements, but they're getting this from a trusted source and they're like, okay, well, yeah, I try it. And then the person dies. Then that's real, you know, I mean, the level of how bad this can get, it escalates all the way to death.
Yeah, I agree though. There's a lot of ramifications there that right now people may not be seeing because they're not looking that far ahead. But I think we need to look at that, particularly in your business, and you want to protect yourself legally. You really have to stop and think about how you're using that. And this is something I posted recently on Facebook on my personal page about how chatbots were starting to create their own language to talk to each other. Because we're talking about artificial intelligence.
Right.
You know, so they're now talking to each other in a non-human language. So who knows what that is? Okay?
Right.
So who knows? That means, that assumes that now they can evolve past the language that's been programmed into them, or a language that human beings can understand. So what are they deciding? And I know that may sound to you like, well, that's kind of crazy. No, it really isn't, because that's the point, is artificial intelligence.
Well, I will say too, I think a lot of people are thinking, well, you know, you're using extreme examples, Kerry. You're talking about a plumber, you're talking about a doctor, or medical stuff, and I'm just a business coach. Again, still painting a scenario. I don't care what you are, you know, the business coach is using a bot and, hey, I understand that you're, you know, having some trouble gaining more clients or organizing your business or, you know, whatever the case, whatever it is that alerted that you should be contacting them. And they go, well, yeah, actually I am. And here's the issues I'm having. Do you have any recommendations? And then the bot turns around and says something, maybe references other material or, you know, it could say, you know, well, have you thought about blah, blah, blah. And then the person takes off and runs with this idea. And the idea not only is a dumb idea, but it's an idea that actually they're trying to launch their business and it pushes them 6 months behind.
That's true.
Or, you know, the bot tells them, well, yeah, or maybe the bot refers them to someone else. That I could see that happening too. You know, because think about it. You got two business coaches using the same type of bot or bot system or bot provider who says those wires won't get crossed. And you're paying for that bot and then all of a sudden all your business is going to somebody else.
Exactly.
That can happen. You know, an accountant could, same thing, an accountant, for example, organizing your bookkeeping, and maybe the bot tells it to do something crazy like write everything in handwritten ledgers, and instead, you wasted all that time. But again, you don't know that it's a bot because you're thinking it's, Don Smith, CPA at large,
Right,
that's
right.
who you think you're talking to, and it's not.
Mm-hmm.
So just the amount of problems. And again, don't think for a second that if you give advice, even though you can't go back into court and say, well, that actually wasn't me, Your Honor, I had a bot, to see if this person was worth me talking to. That's not going to help you in court. If anything, that's going to bury you even further. It's almost like getting arrested for drunk driving and having the bot's going to tell the judge what kind of liquor you were drinking.
So true.
Yeah, so all in all, bad idea. 2 enthusiastic thumbs down.
Well, that's an excellent description, and that's the thing. A lot of the legal world hasn't probably even dealt with this yet. What Kerry's saying as well is you have to be careful. You can't just leap onto this because it's the hot new thing, and not think about how this is going to affect you, your business, how you interact with your prospects, how you interact with your clients. If you're doing the kind of work that someone can feel like they've been harmed by something, what's going to happen in long term?
Right, absolutely. And, and you even talk about the legal profession, and I can just tell you over the years, the legal profession has gotten to the point where more and more it does not want to have to go to court. So you may, in fact, wind up with someone who gives you legal advice and, tells you, hey, we can stop this. And then it comes time to go to court and you can't. And for those of you who have never been through a lawsuit, believe me, you don't want to go through one. Again, I think overall it's just a very bad idea. And, again, it's, for the people who are listening, it's an idea. I agree with you. Technology is not bad, but something like this could be detrimental. It could hurt you beyond repair. You as a business owner, you are responsible for anything you do. You create that bot, it's your butt on the line, not the bot. So, keep that in mind. I mean, anything that happens, you will be responsible because you are the business owner. I don't care if it's an employee. I don't care if it's a bot. I don't care if it's a contractor. At the end of the day, you are the one left holding that bag. So, again, you just need to be extra careful and, that's just something that is still so very new. And even if they do perfect it, I would still say don't do it because then I go back to what you said earlier in the program. It's if you don't have time to talk to a new prospect, you shouldn't be in business.
And that's kind of what I felt when I read that post about, well, the bot can tell you if that person's worth talking to. And, I was chatting with Kerry earlier. I talked to someone in Idaho. I'm in New Jersey, and we found a point where we had something in common. And we were chatting, and it was like, wow, I would have missed out on that because I would have assumed the bot would have said, well, you shouldn't talk to her. I mean, heck, Kerry and I connected over a conversation. So if a bot is going to use his logical rules to decide who you should talk to, you're going to miss out on a lot.
A lot of opportunities, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not hating on technology. In my opinion, the average person, if they deal with a small business, they have a certain expectation. They're going to talk to a real person and they're going to connect with a real person. That's your advantage. Business owner, what's your focus? That's what we're saying, so I think we, we probably covered this one, for now. We'll see how the bots evolve. Who knows? They may be running the world in another few months. So Kerry, do you have any more thoughts on the bots, thing going on or?
No, like I said, watch the video, have a good laugh, but, take it seriously and just, be very mindful of what you're doing.
Yes, that's perfect. That's a perfect ending for the program. So, everyone, I want to thank you again for joining us, and please share this on social media. If you're listening to Automatic, please, join us on iTunes, on WomenEntrepreneursSecrets.com. and you can check the radio tab on the menu and find out other places that the radio show is also available for you if there's different places you listen. I want to thank you so much for joining us. Please leave your feedback. If you got some thoughts about this on womenentrepreneurssecrets.com or www.strictlymarketingmagazine.com. Love to hear what you have to say. Of course, on iTunes.com as well, under the show page, if you've got some thoughts about this. We'd love to hear them. So once again, it's Women Entrepreneurs Radio with your hosts, Deborah Rayleigh and Kerry Heaps. Thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining us. You can also join in the conversation on Facebook.com/Women Entrepreneurs and on the website, WomenEntrepreneursSecrets.com. And don't forget to listen in on dbcoach.podomatic.com and on iTunes.